Buyer is still in complete control. We're just below the all-time high, which was January 26th, around 286.5. If we go back to Monday's resistance, 284.80, 285, is that a support? There was definitely a seller in front of 286 yesterday. Initially, we popped there, and then after we pulled back to the half, we came back up. Looks like the seller was at 90 cents. You see on the 30-minute, we just kept on popping above 90 cents and then closing below. That's something worth keeping an eye on.
So for Rockwell, the export in the final stages of shutting capital for
below 284.80.
Acquired by United Technologies.
It's 284.50, and then probably here. So for some reason we went up and failed here today, and we actually had a hard down move, beat it like here. It's possible. Not seeing much signs of it, but keep an eye out for that. IWM. So I guess yesterday morning it was above 168. Then after the open in the afternoon, I guess the sellers kind of stepped down below there. It's a little bit below this morning. So the real hard down move a couple weeks ago was from, we opened above 168.50 and we dropped straight out $3. Just confirming you guys can still hear me. Somebody is kind of screwing with the Zoom account, so I just got it. Said I was logged out. It seems like I'm still broadcasting. Good. Obviously, we'll have to toss one of the interns out the window after the meeting. So same thing. Just keep an eye out here. If we ever do get a strong drive that takes us above 169, then I'll start to think about new all-time highs on IWM. But right now, I think that would probably happen after the SPYs take out the all-time high. So if the SPYs got up to like 287, 288, then we might see some catch-up in IWM. All right, so first stock, AAOI is up a ton. So here's the daily. So it did this thing where it was just kind of moving along, it was moving up, and then it just went crazy. I guess that was right about here, went vertical to 60, had a very hard pullback, did a retest of the 40 kind of gap area here from whatever this earnings was early last year. And then just went completely vertical again from 60 to 100, and that didn't end particularly well. Gap down to 75, and that was the beginning of this big downtrend. But it's broken out of the downtrend now. So probably what people are thinking about, can it do a retest of this area here into 50? And if it ever closed above that, it would be a move back to 56 to 60. So that's the big picture. If we go back to late May, it broke out from 35.70, did a retest here. Anybody who bought in front of earnings there is feeling pretty good right now. The numbers, right, so they beat by a lot on earnings per share and revenue, but they guided in line. So that's a little bit tricky. So it's up about, it's almost up 100% from the low. Clearly there's a positive catalyst here. The earnings are another positive catalyst again, but the conservative guidance, I think, kind of most likely takes this out of play. Unless they think they're pulling an Apple, which is Apple's notoriously conservative on their guidance. So that's why it's tricky. So what do we have for levels? 47, 49, 42. So this is kind of our opening range. Yeah, so it was a huge short float, which may be the only reason why I can spike up to 50 today. It's actually a good count. I mean, if the shorts don't lose their minds, the fact that it's up this much already and the fact that they didn't guide higher is a strong argument for it to at least come in and test this 42.50, not come back down to 40. This, bottoming in this area here seems very reasonable to me. You can see after the initial pop in the after hours to 45, it came down to 42.50. So, after the high here about 48, I guess they started selling 47.5. There probably was maybe some people who saw after the guidance, they're like, okay, it's worth being short here. What's my risk, $1 or $2? If it actually goes back all the way down to 42 to 40, something like that. So, just trying to see if we can identify an inflection. I think it's kind of tough. I guess my first thought is if they step into buy right on the open, and it fails into 47.50 here, and you can catch it on the short, and then it starts to hold below 46. You look for the move back down at 44 to 42.50, with probably some bids at 45, just because it's a big whole number. But I don't. Aaron pointed out the 50% short interest. That's probably the only thing that gets it. Maybe take out the high and then try to test somewhere between 49 and 50, which is fine. It normally trades 1.3 million. Just looking at the daily, if you go back to the February gap down where it gapped below $30, it traded over 10 million shares. So it's going to trade between 5 and 10 million shares today, I would think. Or at a minimum 4 million. So it's going to be liquid. It's a low price stock. So anyway, that's why it's first. I think it could be really good. And it's up $9 right now. So even if it dropped to 42.50, it's still up 5.50 on the day. So it's a battle of the profit takers versus the shorts potentially panicking. Next one is the opposite in terms of its gapping lower. Pizza. It seemed like it was a decent bounce candidate because if you looked at the numbers, it guided down 20%. But if you look at what it did coming into earnings, it already had dropped into earnings from. I don't know if they warned, maybe they warned coming into earnings that this was going to, they probably gave a warning on this day here ahead of the earnings, gave some preliminary, and that's what caused it. But so it dropped from 51 to 40 in front of earnings, which that kind of matches, that's a 20% down move. They got it down 20%. Let me show you the longer term. And they have all sorts of problems, not just that the founder of the company apparently is having to resign because of his racist comments in corporate meetings. They've just got some fundamental issues. So where are we? It's 38 offer right now. It's below 38. So it's all the way down at this kind of 2014 support. And I guess the main thing for me is because it was already in a steep downtrend and they took it down 20% ahead of earnings, that's kind of why you might get the bounce, at least over the next couple of weeks. So. And then for a longer term bottom, you generally look in these situations from some sort of stability from the fundamentals, kind of like what we saw over Twitter the last couple of years, or nothing else really pops to mind. Maybe some of the retail stocks like Macy's or something like that. So our firm is net short, which makes it a little bit difficult for me to play it on the long side. Oh, it's actually not down 10% though, so that's good. So it's not short sale restricted yet. Like, yeah, what would a bounce look like? The low here in the after hour was 36.5. It bounced up to 38. Maybe on the open, if there's a quick down bar through 37, then got back above 37, you'd look to play it for a bounce, and you'd want it to get above 38. Obviously, if it fails in this area here, then perhaps it rolls over to the low, and you see what happens at the low, after hours low. But it gets above 38 and starts to hold, you could definitely get a bounce to this area here. And then you kind of see. This is a big range to work with. The initial range to think about is 38 to 36.50. And we'll see. I'm kind of agnostic. I could see it trending down, but the move from 50 to 40 ahead of earnings makes it a little bit skeptical that it'll break down much below the after hours low. ENDP, right? So they beat easily. They guided. So the headlines are they guided higher, but the guide higher was in line with what they already beat for the quarter. So that's poor headline writing and poor article writing by some people. Unless I'm missing something there. So I guess my first inclination was to short it if it got close to $15. And so, yeah, it is a beaten down stock, but it has more than doubled off the low now. I guess you got to use actually 14 as kind of the, if it actually gets below 14 on the open, I mean, I don't know how much of this is already priced in. Maybe it fills the gap. So it's a tough call because it is so beaten down. So
sources indicated they took a short position for the first time yesterday following the garage piece up on Friday.
So sellers starting to take control. It's failed twice here above 1470. Now they're selling 1450. So if you want to, as long as it's holding below 1450, being short is not wrong. I'm going to move on to the next thing. They're on a conference call right now. And then Snap. I put Snap last because I'm just not sure. I mean, it was really good in the after hours. It was actually great. I tried to get long it down here. I couldn't get it because the firm's net shorted. And I didn't have the locates. And I got the locates, and I started to short it above 1450, which was just, to me, insane that it bounced to 1450, but it did. So there was this. So I would short it and then pop at it like in this area here. Like a 1250 on the sheet. Yeah. So I guess this kind of support in this area here. I'm just going to try to trade this range. I'm not going to spend a lot of time paying attention to it though. The easy money, although it looked hard at the time, was when it was up at 1480. There was a big seller that came down with like 50,000 shares. The bid started to drop, and like that was it. Like an hour later, it was 13. I know Shark's been holding a large short position for a while from the 13s, so you can definitely watch to see what he's doing. Okay, so I wasn't around. And after I shorted it up here, I covered most of it when it dropped here. Okay. Twilio. So Twilio, although it bounced right off the kind of the price we talked about from the pre-market, which is where they've been buying it in the after hours, if we just extend this line out. The way that it got there was very unusual. So instead of it dropping out right on the open to here, it actually went up first to 77. You probably heard me cursing that I wanted to short it on the spike to 76.5, 77. Didn't miss that. It came back down at around 9:45. And we always talk the first 15 minutes, you do get some of these crazy gyrations. You would think with big buyers stepping in right on the open to here, that would have a shallower pullback, somewhere like 74.5, 75. But it went right through, touched the pre-market support and the after-hours support twice. It bounced there about $1.50, touched it again, and then trended up to 77 again. It's actually really wild price action. But it kept the pattern, right? The pattern of the things beating and raising and taking out highs was good. I guess now I kind of want to see buyers step up a little bit higher. I mean, it's interesting. It double topped here, then it was a lower high, then it was a lower high. So I wouldn't want to really be long it unless it was holding above 76. And if they flush it again, I mean, I guess they can flush it down to here. And if this doesn't hold, it's probably tests 70. The reason why this can happen is it's just up so much. And I think people who are long from the 30s and 40s at this point might be thinking, what's the upside from here? Is it going to go to 80, 85? There's not much more upside, only 10%. I might as well take profits. And that's what could get it to kind of flush down to here. So I don't think you have to just trade it on the long side at this point. WTW, I made a mental brain fart in the meeting. I was actually thinking WTW was WWE when I was talking about it yesterday. I don't know why. I guess the tickers are similar, the prices are similar. I would have looked at it a little bit differently in the sense that WTW doesn't have a television contract like WWE, which kind of puts a floor on WWE's stock price. Weight Watchers is pure momentum. So once it takes out this support here at 85, there was really nothing till 80. And it went straight through there, bounced. I just want to make a general point here. If you see a momentum stock that goes straight down on the open like this, and actually takes out longer term support, if you get a bounce in the middle of the day or in the afternoon, you should absolutely look to start shorting it into the bounce. And so the way you look at it is, after the initial down move, it bottomed here at 80.50. And kind of it spiked up as high as, what, 83 here. So what you want to do is this kind of the second down leg that made the new low started from here at 82. You want to start shorting it anywhere, I mean, for me, anywhere between 81 and 82. And you're shorting it against this right here, against this 83. And then you're looking to see if it comes down and tests the morning low, which it did. And the reason why you're shorting into this is if it's broken and the momentum's broken, and usually these situations have another down leg in the coming days. And so 74, 75 would be the next down leg. If you short into this here and it starts to work, you can cover a little bit at 80, cover a little bit 78.5, and then just take the rest as a swing. So I just wanted to point that out to you because it does happen a pretty decent amount, at least a couple of times during earnings season. For today, if it popped up into here into like 79, 60 to 80, this would be the spot where I'd look to see if the sellers come in, fails, and then takes out yesterday's low. Or it may just take out yesterday's low right on the open and go straight down to like 75, 76.